Good afternoon, everybody. This is Justin, and this will be the DISC impromptu training that we will do today. If you have any questions, success stories beforehand, we'll begin here in just a couple minutes, but if you have anything beforehand, share them out, chat with me, whatever you like to do. I'm here. It's your time. Okay, hey, good afternoon, everybody. Again, this is Justin. Welcome back. This is a Business Builder Impromptu webinar, and we're going to cover today the Maxwell DISC method. We're going to just cover DISC today because as I was teaching in a couple other sessions a week ago, or a couple weeks ago rather, that one of the things that we run into a lot of times is we misinterpret a conversation. We misinterpret gestures. We may even misinterpret some people's thinkings, thoughts, or whatever. And it's mostly because we really don't understand the behavior behind who they are and what drives them. And there are several things that we can cover in here. So this session will be 30-ish, 40-ish minutes in nature. I'm going to cover a couple different things. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But during the session, if you guys have questions, again, I'd always ask them out there. I would love to answer any questions you can that might come up. But at the end, I'm definitely going to leave some time for questions about this or anything in general, but about this that might help you understand this a little bit better. So with that, again, this is me. I'm part of the John Maxwell team. I've been there since 2017. I'm a DISC certified trainer and consultant, which means I can work with you and help you understand who you are and kind of coach you on that stuff. I've been a trainer for over 20 years, as well as I am considered an IS, an influencer and a steady. I'm considered an advisor, which is what those are. If you ever want any more information, you go to my website to do that. And here's what we're going to learn today. We are going to learn how to recognize patterns of behavior in people and ourselves. We're going to learn the four primary DISC styles, as well as key strategies to improve communication. Now, here's the thing I'm going to ask you. I'm going to sit there, and while you're looking at the screen, I'm going to run a timer here real quick on my phone. And I have this up here, and what I want you to do is to start to find the numbers. Find 1, then find 2, then find 3, then find 4. I want you to find the numbers on the screen. And I'm going to give you a second here. Where is my timer? And what I'm going to give you in here is I'm going to give you 40 seconds. And find as many numbers as you can. And go. And time. So how'd you guys do? How many did you guys find that are in there? How many did you find? Write them in the chat box. How many you found by going in order 1, 2, 3, 4? How many did you find? Oh, wow. Okay. 15, 31, 28. Awesome. Some of you guys might have seen this before. I usually say a high number, but that's awesome. That's great. Those are awesome numbers. So here's the thing that we may have missed in here, and I think this is great. Here's one of the things that I think is awesome in here. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to this or not, but when you do this, there's actually little tick marks on the side of the screen on the top and on the bottom. And if I actually come in here and draw lines between them, you see this is a grid pattern. And what you'll notice in here is each grid, if you go clockwise, has a number. And we can see them continue on. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this one more time, 40 more seconds, starting now. Find out how many you have. Okay, stop. Okay, in the chat box again, one more time, write how many you have in there. How many you found this time? More. Okay, good. Okay. So pretty much every one of us have picked and said higher numbers, which is typically what's going to happen, because what we have found is by doing this, we've actually seen patterns in the system, which is going to help us identify. And much like those patterns in there, we all have patterns in our system. We all have identifiers, and we have trends and things that we typically try to do. And the parameters that we're going to talk about this from inside here is under DISC. And this was created by William Marston. And he built this on 4 primary things. Now, mind you, this has all been pretty much done in various ways throughout time. There are other histories older than this that are out there. But this is based on DISC, and it's based on dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. We're all on these. We have these 4 basic profiles. Now, the thing to understand with this is we are absolutely not here today to put you in a box. We're not here to sit there and say, you're always doing this, you're always doing that. The thing to understand is we are made up of all 4 of these profiles, but we are most definitely driven by a couple of them, 2 to 3 of them, typically not all 4. That very rarely happens. We are driven by this. And we're going to just kind of learn this so you can understand some tendencies and hopefully get a better understanding when you're talking to people, like when we're going out networking, when we're door knocking, when we are making the phone calls, that some of the reactions that we're getting, some of the conversation we're getting, some of the questions that we may be getting from the people aren't based on anything other than their profile. So with that, let's just give you another example. So you got the elevator, you hit the door or you hit the button to go up the elevator. You're waiting for the elevator, you're facing it, and you are doing what? You are thinking in there, please don't let anybody be in there. Please don't let anybody be in the door. Please don't let anybody be in the door. And you see some people in there, so you quickly get in the door, you turn around, and you hit the button. So you can go up, and you're hoping no one's going to talk to you. You just want to get to your point. You're doing this out there. Some of you guys are kind of raising your hand right now thinking that that's you. When you do that, you are considered more of the reserved personality. These are our S's and our C's, our compliance, our steadies and our compliance in here. You will have those folks that are there. As well as taking it again, the same storyline. You got the elevator. You got some of us that are hitting that button because we're waiting for the surprise. We're hoping to see people in there. We're hoping to see folks so we can talk to them. We can say hello. We can greet them. We can ask how they're doing. We hit the button to go up there, and maybe some of us, we don't face the doors. We might actually face the people in the elevator. We may do things like that. Now, how many of you in the room are doing that? Some of you guys, if you're raising your hand, you're probably the I's and the D's. We're considered the more outgoing folks in the world, and that's definitely me. If somebody's in the elevator, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to say hi. Cannot not say hi. It's harder for me to say nothing than it is to say something. Let's take one more example with this. We are taking a vacation. And before we take the vacation, we have things we have to plan out. We have to make sure everybody knows where we're going. We have to research all the trips that we're going to, hotels we're going to, make sure to have the Wi-Fi. We have to plan every step. We have checklists for checklists, right? We have this stuff going on because we got to make sure everything is designed out there. If that is you, you are definitely more of a task-oriented personality, right? You have certain things that you're trying to get done, certain things that you're trying to accomplish. These, again, are our D's and our C's, our dominant and our compliant profiles. These folks are going to make sure everything's checked off. They are the ones that help most of the other ones, like me, make sure things get done right so we all have fun, have fun and not get lost. Same storyline, we're taking a vacation, but the rest of us here, we are the ones that are more worried about who we are going with, maybe where we are going, than rather all the details about how to get there. Let someone else plan those, let people have the fun, or let them have the fun planning. We're going to have the fun talking, chatting, and enjoying that kind of environment. If that is you, you are more of the people-oriented. Those are our I's and our S's, our influencing and our steady. These are the folks that are going to think people first and not worry about too much of the other stuff that goes on in that environment. So that is the 4 profiles, D, I, S, and C. If we talk about the D first, these are our dominants. What these folks are here, they seek control. They are going to make decisions. They are very decisive. It's going to be yes or no, black or white. It is what it is. Let's just do it. They're going to do it, and they're going to do it quickly, right? They're not going to wait. They very rarely are going to want to research too much to get it out there. They're going to want to just do it. You told me to do it. Let's go get it done. They're very direct. When they're talking to you, they are going to answer you succinctly. They are going to say yes, no, let's go. What's taking us so long? They're going to do things like that. And they are most specifically, they are controlled by results. They want to see the results. They are driven. They are driven personalities. They are going to want to see things. They are going to want to challenge the status quo a lot of times. So they also, and by the way, that covers 3% of the people in the area. So this is all breaking out. 3% of the DISC profile are people that are Ds. They seek results. They're active. They are definitely multitaskers. They are driven by authority. They want it, and they'll do what they can to get it. Will easily try to take control. So you'll see a lot of people when things get too slow or get too ambiguous in nature, you're going to see them jump up and try to take things and get it organized the way they want to see it done. They embrace any change that will help them get the results they want. They are very comfortable responding to direct confrontation. So these are the folks that actually will not only respond to it, but sometimes seek it. They will actually come out and try to get that confrontation. They treasure loyalty. They are big into people that are loyal to the program. They are loyal to other products, things like that. They're driven by that. And then their greatest fear is being taken advantage of. You'll hear that a lot out of the D personalities. When things get wrong, someone does something, someone says something, you'll hear that being said, not almost directly, if not directly, pretty darn near directly. You'll hear them sit there and say, well, that wasn't great. They just used me. They just did this, right? That is one of the greatest fears. They get really, really frustrated by that. You'll also see Ds in very powerful colors. Then you have your Is. They are 11% of the group. They are persuasive. These are our chatty folks. These are ones that want to go out and they want to party. They are very spontaneous. They will just do things. Someone calls them up, want to go out, they'll go out. They're friendly. They like to talk, right? They are always communicating with people. They're going to drive for the socialization aspect of any job. And they do definitely enjoy the spotlight. Again, some of us in this room, when I asked you, well, I didn't say directly to raise your hand, but some of you guys probably actually slightly raised your hand when I asked some of those questions early on. And it's just because some of that stuff, you're just very energetic in that regards, and you like to do that stuff. When people ask to raise your hand, you're going to raise your hand. Just because that's just one of the things you like to do. They're always going to seek a friendly environment. They're always active. They're on the go. They're doing various things. You'll see a lot of these folks in sales type jobs. They're relationship oriented. So a lot of things that I've talked about in our business builder is to build those connections. I won't say is easier than any other group, but they definitely can get to it a lot quicker than a lot of folks because they are so relationship oriented. They're going to sometimes connect a lot faster than other personalities or other behavioral profiles. They are very emotional and animated. That's when you'll see all these folks are using their hands a lot, right? You'll see them, they'll get very energetic. You'll see them smile a lot. You'll get out there. They are amazing storytellers. They have a story for every situation. They have a story for everything that's out there. They can tell you something. And if they have a story to relate to it that relates to it. And it's fun to watch eyes together because they can basically storytell, fight against each other. And then they're encouragers, right? They're going to cheer everybody on. They're going to make sure you feel as good as they do. They're going to want you to be out there where you're at. And then they treasure great experiences with others. They always love, if you listen to them talk, they're talking about the experiences, not necessarily about the sales that was sold. It was a great opportunity. I had so much fun at this event. Things like that. I'm an IS, as you saw earlier. This is one of my things. I love that. I do storytell a lot. I have a lot of that out there. And then the last one down here is the greatest fear is the fear of rejection. And I'll be honest, that is huge. And you'll see that with a lot. And that's why a lot of us struggle a lot of times, especially some of us in this group. We're eyes in the group, and we don't like to make those phone calls. We don't like to door knock. We don't like to go to a networking event because we're afraid of that. We're afraid of getting rejected. We have those challenges that are out there because that's one of the things that are challenging to us at all times, is that we like the approval. We want that stuff. And that's one of our biggest challenges to get over, is rejection or loss of approval. Team oriented. So this is our S's. We got team oriented, follow through, loyalty, and acceptance. This is 69%. It's actually quite fascinating because you look in our industry, there's probably a lot of D's and I's in our industry. But if you actually break down and you talk to a lot of our realtors out there, we're still going to fit this category. Most of the people out there, their high category is going to be the S. That's what most of us are in the world, is we're driven by the S, the steady. We're team oriented. So we always like to have that cohesive environment, which is what is great about being in with a brokerage or even being with a team. You have that follow through, right? You tell somebody to get something done, they're going to do it. Now, sometimes it'll take a little time. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but they will do it. They're loyal as all get out. So our S's, someone asks us to do something, we're going to do it. If they have built the trust and loyalty, we'll do anything. I'll do anything for anybody. And as far as that goes, and then they want the acceptance. So everybody, they want to be liked. If you remember, they are people oriented. So when we're doing this, we're doing a lot of our stuff for that acceptance. We were doing it from a loyalty and acceptance perspective. Our S's also are very much a team environment, right? So a lot of times you see that out there. Some of the best people I have seen in business have hired what are considered transaction coordinators. And I do think they have a high level of C with them, or S with them, rather, not C, have S with them. And I think that's the reason being is because they thrive in a team environment. So they're already part of a team. They want to make sure everybody's agreeable, everybody's happy, and they're very easygoing. So it's always going to give them a hard time to get them rattled. They are evenly paced. They are great listeners, hugely compassionate. So they're going to sympathize and empathize with pretty much everybody that's out there. And they love the peaceful relationship. So remember, D's, they will not back away from the confrontation, where S's, they don't necessarily strive for that. So remember, those sometimes can be in conflict with one another. And their greatest fear is loss of security or confrontation. So again, the confrontation is huge for them, but the loss of security is another one, because for a lot of that, loss of security comes out from a change perspective. And when you're doing that, they don't want to have that change with them. And it's hard for them. It's very, very hard to adapt. Or I shouldn't say adapt, but it's very hard for them. It takes time for those S's to come around. Not that they won't, but it takes time. Then we have our compliant. These are our C's, so we're compliant. They are compliant. They are analytical. They are planners, and they're very, very accurate. And they are 17% of the group. And these are, for people like me, the I's are very huge. Don't let me just go do what I need to do. Don't make me worry about the details. Someone else needs to worry about that all the time. I'm not that person. And I need these folks, but they also challenge me most, because just like D's and S challenge each other, I's and C's will challenge each other very much the same way. Where you do have the compliant, they're analytical. Again, they plan to the T. They'll ask a lot of questions. Their biggest question they're going to ask at all times is why. They will seek an environment that honors logic and facts, right? So you'll see a lot of these C's, especially in our offices. They'll be kind of our accountants, our bookkeepers type of strategies. They like to just deal with the numbers. It's very easy for them. It's where it's at. If you are a C in real estate, the way you're going to succeed by there is having structure in your system. These are the 10, 15 steps for a successful transaction every time. Right? It's going to work for you. You're very conscientious. You're going to be aware of everything. You're going to know all the rules, all the laws. You're going to abide by them. Very, very accurate. They're going to know everything. They're detailed oriented and they treasure perfection. They need to have everything done right. Their biggest fear, since they do treasure perfection, is criticism, because it means they didn't get something right and it affects them. It pisses them off. It makes them very, very upset. So that is their biggest challenges for them. That's the greatest fear. Now, John Maxwell tells us that connecting increases our influence in every situation. With knowing that, we're going to want to know how we communicate with each group, because if we cannot communicate, we cannot connect. So we do need to know how to communicate with every person out there. So when you're communicating with a D, here are some very quick tips for you to get this done. With the D's, you're going to want to be very brief and to the point, and then leave. You want to make sure you're just in and out. Here's the problem. Here's what we're doing. Here's how we're fixing it. Done. Ask what, not how questions. Come out there when you're doing this and make sure you're asking what, not how, because again, with the D's, that's going to be more the C. They want to know the how. D's just want to say what it's going to take to get it done. What are we going to do? When's it going to get done? Focus on results. We just closed 5 transactions. We just got the fifth approval in. We just, whatever it is, you have that. Don't ramble. For us I's, we like to talk. We like to talk. With the D's, that's going to frustrate them because it's too much stuff being said, too much stuff being done. Discuss as a problem and its effects on outcomes, right? We're going to want to make sure we can discuss the problem and how's it going to affect the results. The loan did not get approved today. We still need 3 documents. It's going to postpone us by 2 days. Not that you don't need to come out there and say, oh, hey, you know what? Our clients got sick for the last 4 days. They haven't been anywhere. The house has been ridden with flu. They don't need all that stuff. They don't care. They don't want to know it. Get straight to the problem, tell them what the outcomes in, and tell how it's going to affect their stuff and get straight to the point. With the I's, on the other hand, make sure you're the one that's not doing all the talking. If you are 2 I's, that becomes a real big challenge, although both I's will probably talk just a bunch. Don't ignore their ideas. Most of the time for I's, they want to have their ideas heard. Whether it gets implemented or not is not always going to be the biggest deal for them, but as long as you didn't just totally ignore it, they'll be out there. Remember, they like the spotlight. They want to be heard. Allow time for socializing. You're on the phone and you're saying, okay, we have closing in 5 days. What's going on? Okay, bye, boom. It's not going to work for I's. They're going to be very put uneasy by that. Hey, how's your day? What'd you do this weekend? How's it going? Okay, where are we at with the transaction? Things like that. Follow up with the details in writing. Huge for us, because by the time the phone conversation got hung up, we probably forgot 5% of that, probably 25 to 30% of that conversation. Always follow up with an email in writing saying, here's what was discussed, things like that. And one of the best things you can do is, if you're going to have a 40-minute conversation, break it up into 10-minute sections. Four short 10-minute sections is way better than a 40-minute conversation any point in time for us. We will wander. Our brains will go somewhere else, and we will do other things with that. For our S's, we need to keep it a friendly environment. Again, doesn't necessarily have to be social, but we want to smile when we talk to them. We want to show that we are happy to be there. That is going to be huge. If you come into the room, you have a bad day, and you come in frowning and you just want to know where the transaction is, they think you're mad at them. So always be smile. Show interest in them as a person. Ask them some questions about their day, how they doing, how's the home life, whatever it may be. Do that. Don't be aggressive. Don't come charging in like a rhino. Again, they may not know it's nothing about them, but they're going to think it's about them. It's going to be that way. Minimize the potential for confrontation. Sometimes you can't get around it, but if you can try to make it a little bit easier, again, don't necessarily have to smile for it. If you have things you got to discuss with them that aren't going to be pleasant, but if you don't make it aggressive, it's going to be hugely helpful. And then here's the big stuff. Give definition to the goal and everyone's role. Let them know exactly where everybody sits, what their job are, what they're expected out of them, and how they're going to get that stuff done. They're going to want to know that stuff. And then if you're making big, huge changes to anything, you're dealing with an S client and they have to move and they're not excited about it. Give them that time to adjust. So plan it in your transaction for them to have the opportunity to absorb what they're doing. Let them sit on a contract 24 hours. Give them that opportunity to do that. Don't have to tell the other people what's going on in that regards, but give them time to absorb this stuff, because if you go too fast, it's just going to stress them out to no end. Then you have the C's. These are our compliant folks, and communicating with them. Again, remember, these are our tasks. These are our very detailed folks. So we want to provide them all the details. Be prepared to answer all their questions. And I'm sorry for some of us if we're C's in the room, but just saying all questions just already stresses me out because I'm a high I and it's already stressed me out. But you got to be prepared for it. They're going to ask a lot of questions. You just got to have them ready. They're going to do that. One of my cousin's husband, when we were riding home looking at homes, every time we got done, he was asking why every time we got out of the house. Drove me nuts, gave me a headache by the time we walked out of the house, but it was really kind of fascinating to learn this afterwards. I had time to decompress and talk about it with someone. That was how they were assessing the area. They just needed to have questions answered. They had questions they needed to have answered. And it was so much little innocuous details that didn't matter to me. Use validated facts. Don't sit there and tell them something that you just think is your opinion. They're going to want to have the facts behind it. Be precise in your explanation. Be very, very specific. And then by all means, please be patient. As I was saying earlier, be patient, answer all their questions, and then give them any details, any data they need to have for their request. It is going to be the biggest thing for you in here to make sure that gets done for you. Okay. Okay, so the last little bit here. Is now that we've done that, we're basically almost done. We have now talked about and recognized the pattern of how people around us, and by seeing their different characteristics and profiles. And once we know that, this will help us build more effective relationships with these folks when we know what they do. For instance, some of us, we like people, we're more of an S than we are an I. And if we go to a networking event, it's going to take them time. They're the ones who are going to probably be against the wall or finding that comfortable group of people to sit with. And when you do that, they're not going to want to get out there. Now, they're going to come out there and talk to more people each time they come out. They're going to talk to more people at the events, things like that. But they're going to be slow to adjust to that. And we just need to give them time to do that. You can't break them in. I mean, that's me. I'm an I and an S. I'm basically the same level I and S. And when I go to a brand new networking event, it usually takes me 4 or 5 times before I actually feel like I'm going to go around and start talking to more and more people. It takes me a while. I'm the guy against the back of the wall observing. I'll talk to a couple people, and it just keeps growing slower and slower. And while others are just, they'll just come out there because they're D's, and their job at a networking event is to get as many business cards as they can. They're results driven. Got to get as many business cards. So they're going to shake as many hands as they can. They don't really have met anybody. They haven't done anything. They don't know that stuff. Where your I's will talk and talk and talk, and your C's will basically dissect the room and figure out the best way to get around the room to talk to the most effective people. Right. So you have things like that. And it's going to help you when you understand that, when you're building these relationships with these folks, to understand that's how they're going to go after it, because building that and understanding how they're conversing will let you work with them. It'll let you work inside their area. It will also let you communicate with them in the ways they're used to be communicated to or want to be communicated with. So hopefully today that has helped you understand just a little bit better about the DISC behavioral profile. And again, it's behavioral. It's not a personality. People will call it personality. I probably would say it a couple times in here, but it's behavioral profile to understand what they are. There are some personality traits that are tied to each one, but it is what it is. Now, here's the thing I'm going to tell you, and I didn't have time to put it up today, but I will put it up in an email this evening at some point. If you want to get your DISC profile, if you think you know what you are, but you want to get more of a breakdown, let me know for a price, which I'll put out there in here in a little bit. I will give the DISC profile. Now, there's two ways I'm going to give it out. There is one way where I will give it where you just get the assessment, and it'll be a small price. And then there'll be another way where you get the assessment, you're going to get a 45-minute debrief session with me where we will walk through that so you can understand who you are, what your strengths are, how you need to communicate with all different categories of people, and how that will work for you. And I'll put that out later this evening so you have that. But if you're interested, let me know. You can write in the chat box now, and I'll make sure to even get to you guys sooner since you guys are on here right now. But that is something I'm going to do, and I'll do this at a very cheap price because normally I'm charging about $200 for this debrief, and I'm probably going to half that price, if not more than half that price. So it'll be a really extremely low price that goes on for that. But if you have questions, let me know. That's what I'm here for. That is the end of that session. This was, again, just supposed to be real quick, nothing too deep, just trying to give you understanding of what each profile is. Hopefully it does make sense for you. If you want to have a further, I didn't want to do that. If you want to have a further discussion or you want to try to understand a little bit better on what I'm talking about, ask some questions or whatever. But this is, again, as always, this is now your time. And just so we all understand, now this is a little bit exception to this because I have a very specific shutoff time. At basically 2 o'clock, I got to be done. But normally when we do our Thursday morning webinars, the first part is training, but the second part is a mentoring program, coaching program, much like I'm giving free right now independently. Where if you have any questions, any challenges, any struggles, that's when they're there to be talked about. And right now, if you want to do the same thing, we got, roughly 20 minutes left of time. If you wanted to, I'm happy to discuss anything you guys want to talk about. And as always, if you have questions, ask them right in the chat box, write questions, raise your hand. But basically at 20 till, if I don't hear any questions, I will call it. That is awesome. I love seeing the notes written. That is great. Okay, I have a question about how I did a hot sheet for a neighborhood. I wonder if I can show that real quickly here. Okay, so if I come into search, I have some examples over here. One of them, where is it? Is it right here? I got my Heritage Hills and Heritage Hills 30. I haven't done this for a couple of years, but I'll show you what it looks like. So my Heritage Hills, what I used to do with this one is run it every day. So I'd come in and say view results. I would see all the stuff that popped up every day. I'd see whatever's new. I would see whatever's changed, price change. That way I knew about the market. I knew about it very specifically. And if you come, well, I won't come out of here quick, but I can see all the details that come out for that area. And what you'll see in here with Heritage Hills, my search parameters were very basic. I didn't put any criteria in here. Now, if you have criteria that you're looking for when you're trying to door knock a neighborhood or whatever, be as specific as you need to be. But I didn't, because I wanted every result. Now, my 30, the reason I named it 30, yes, there is. So in there, when I have this 30, and I'll show you that here in a second. When I have this 30 in here, now I just run from last run date, and I run it every month. So the first of every month, I would run it, and I would get the last month of details. To add boundaries, down here to add remove fields, I can just add map, and now it's here. Now it would be here in this list, but since I already have it, it's here on the right-hand side. But you will not see in Hot Sheets map boundaries, map search by default. But now if I come out here and say click boundaries, you can actually see I've actually had the boundaries created for that area. And I can put that subdivision on. I will have to know the subdivision boundaries, but that's out there. And then again, all I ever did when I would do the flyers is when I would search the results, I would just take some of the basic details from here and put them out there. And normally what I did was take some of the details like bed, bath, market time, things like that, and put it out there. So they just had some basic details. I think the price, what I did is I did address. So I didn't do bed, bath. That was, well, no, I think I did bed, bath, address. I didn't do city, nothing like that. It didn't matter. Then I did sold price or list price, depending on what it was. If it was a new listing, it was list price, it was sold price. And then I would go in the system and find the market time, because I always like to have the market time out there so they can see how long it sat. And that's what it was out there. And that's how I put that stuff in there. Yes, when you add the map, it stays. As long as you save it, you got to save it, right? So one of the tricks with Hot Sheets is, why do I keep unsharing? Doing too many things at one time. One of the nice things about Hot Sheet, or one of the biggest tricks to Hot Sheet, is this. Once I create that subdivision, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a new name. So I'm going to save Hot Sheet. I got to hit that button. Did that too fast. Up top here, right above all my Hot Sheet names, says save Hot Sheet. Once I save Hot Sheet, I'm going to come out here and call this Business Builder. Delete. And I come out here and save new. And I got this from last run date. To me, that is the biggest trick to all of Hot Sheets, from last run date. Once I do this and I say save new with that checked on, I will come out here. And when I come back to my search, Hot Sheets, I will have Business Builder here, but it has not ran yet. So I want to make sure I run it. I want to run it because when I come back, I'm going to get no results, because nothing from nothing is nothing. I now have a date time. I have a timestamp on here. So now anytime I do anything from here and run it, it will update showing me what's changed since the last time of my date stamp ran. So yes, that map boundaries will stay as long as I have saved it. And that makes life tremendously easy. I love hot sheets. That and custom reports are two of our best kept secrets that should be utilized a lot more. So many tabs I have open. Okay, that one was intentional. All right. Again, if you have any more questions, let me know, folks. Happy to answer anything. Doesn't have to be disc related, but I will be sending that out in case you guys want any to understand who you are. Yeah. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Let me know how I can help at all times. Remember that free 30-minute coaching session is available for anybody still up until the end of the 8-week session. So I don't mind if you guys come in and try to jump on it. Do what you need to do. Doesn't make a sense really every week, but you get it started, and maybe before we get done, check one more time in. I'm happy to do it. Okay. Oh, I think I'm going to end this unless we got questions. I'm going to have it going once, going twice. Gone. Okay, folks. Well, you guys have a great day. This session will be up on the system sometime this evening, hopefully. If not, it won't be up until Wednesday. Tomorrow's booked for me. But I'll get up as soon as I can. Have a great day, all, and enjoy your day. Stay dry if it does snow. Talk to you later.